It wasn't just about technology. It was about being part of something new and accessible. The community became the heart of the project, sharing news, helping each other, and dreaming about Pi's future value. But for years, these coins existed in a kind of digital limbo. You could mine and hold them, but not trade or spend them. This waiting period only fueled speculation. How much would one Pi be worth when it finally hit the open market? The community's hopes soared, and some of their predictions were, let's say, wildly optimistic. And that's where our story really begins. Let's dive into the wildest idea of all, the legendary GCV. In the Pi community, one number became legendary, 3/14,159. This figure, inspired by the digits of Pi itself, became known as the Global Consensus Value, or GCV. The GCV wasn't based on market analysis. It was a bold declaration of belief. The idea, if enough people agreed that one Pi was worth 3/14,159, then that would be its value. It became a rallying cry, spreading across social media and Pi forums. On November 1st, 2025, the community pushed the GCV into the spotlight, turning it into a global event. The dream was simple: make every early adopter unimaginably wealthy. But this is where hope meets economic reality. The GCV is a powerful symbol of community faith, but when you do the math, things get out of hand fast. Let's see just how wild those numbers get. Time for some quick math. Multiply the GCV, 314,159, by the circulating supply of Pi, about 7.14 billion coins, and you get over $2 quadrillion. For context, the entire global economy is about $100 trillion. That means Pi's market cap at GCV would be over 20 times the world's annual economic output. Compare it to gold. All the gold ever mined is worth about $15 trillion. Pi at GCV would be nearly 150 times that. If you use the maximum supply of 100 billion coins, the total value jumps to 31.4 quadrillion. That's more than 300 times the size of the global economy. These numbers are so huge they're meaningless in the real world. There simply isn't that much money on Earth. Achieving the GCV isn't just unlikely, it's impossible. It would require more wealth than humanity has ever created. The GCV is a fun thought experiment, but it's pure fantasy. Let's imagine, just for a moment, what would happen if it actually came true. Imagine the GCV becomes reality. Suddenly, millions of Pi users are overnight millionaires, or even billionaires. The early adopters would become some of the richest people on the planet, able to buy companies, influence markets, and reshape economies. The world would see the largest wealth redistribution in history. But this utopia has a dark side. With so much new money, prices would skyrocket. Hyperinflation would make everyday goods unaffordable, and the global economy would spiral into chaos. The value of traditional money would collapse. The dream would quickly turn into a nightmare. Back to reality. If Pi hit the GCV, what would everyone do? Sell, of course. 50 million users would rush to cash out, triggering a tidal wave of sell orders. But for every seller, there must be a buyer. Who would buy Pi at $314,159 when millions are desperate to sell? No one. This creates a liquidity crisis. No buyers, only sellers. The price would crash instantly, plummeting from fantasy heights to a few dollars, then cents or even zero. The GCV dream would vanish in minutes. The paradox. The value only exists as long as no one tries to claim it. The moment people try to cash in, the illusion shatters. This is why experts warn of massive sell pressure when Pi finally hits exchanges. Any initial price will be tested by millions eager to take profits. The market will decide the real value fast. So, What do the experts say about the GCV? In short, it's impossible. With 100 billion coins, Pi is designed for abundance, not scarcity. When something is plentiful, each unit is worth less. Think Ford Focus, not Ferrari. At GCV, there would be millions of sellers and zero buyers. No buyers means no market, and no market means no price. Even if GCV happened, the sudden flood of wealth would cause catastrophic inflation. Bread would cost thousands and Pi millions would be worthless. The GCV is a fun dream, but it would lead to economic collapse, not prosperity. Be careful what you wish for. If $314,150 is out, what's a realistic price for Pi? Most experts predict a much lower starting price, thanks to the huge supply and expected sell pressure. Some, like Luis Buenaventura, suggest as low as 2 cents per Pi. Others, like Paolo Diochino, estimate around 20 cents. Crypto analysis sites offer more optimistic numbers. CoinCodex predicts a possible peak of $202, while CCN suggests an average of $65. These higher estimates assume Pi builds a strong ecosystem and real demand. Long-term, some speculate Pi could reach $1,000 if it becomes widely used, but that's a distant goal. The journey from a few cents to big numbers would take years of real-world adoption. The price will depend on utility, not just hype. Overnight riches are unlikely, but steady growth is possible. For years, Pi coins were just IOUs, untradeable and locked away. The big moment was the open mainnet launch, scheduled for February 2025. Major exchanges like OKX announced plans to list Pi, giving it legitimacy and access to global markets. But not everyone was convinced. Some exchanges refused to list Pi, citing concerns about its legitimacy. The transition from closed system to open market will be a huge test. Many early miners aren't experienced traders and may struggle with the process. Experts warn that the launch could be chaotic, with massive sell pressure and wild price swings. The real value of Pi will be set by open market dynamics, supply, demand, and trader sentiment. The days of consensus dreams are over. Reality is about to take over. So, was Pi a waste of time? Not at all. The real goal was to create a widely accessible digital currency, not instant billionaires. Pi's true value lies in its massive community and potential for real-world use. With over 50 million users, Pi has a ready-made ecosystem for apps, marketplaces, and services. If people start using Pi for real transactions, its value will be based on utility, not speculation. For many, the reward is learning about crypto and being part of a global experiment. Even if Pi is worth just a few dollars, that's a solid return for a daily tap. The future of Pi depends on its community's energy and creativity. The GCV dream showed the power of belief, but real value comes from building something useful. The journey is just beginning.